Hi, this is Michelle Thompson, and today is the day that you are going to change your life. It's time now for you to be happy. It's time to have abundance. It's time for you to have love. The key to success, the key to abundance, the key to life, the key to happiness, it all comes down to one little word: feelings. It's how you feel. The bottom line to all of this is, how do you feel when you decide to do something like buy a new car? You get in it, you drive it, you feel it. You're like, the comfort of this car, the way it feels. Or how does it make you feel because it's really expensive and it's a sports car and it goes really fast? It's how it makes you feel to buy this car. It's how it makes you feel to buy a new home. You finally own something that's yours and it makes you feel like you've accomplished something. It's how it makes you feel when you go and buy new clothes or get your hair done. It's how it makes you feel when you're in a relationship with somebody that you care about. See, the problem is that we don't let our actions control our feelings. We let our feelings control our actions. And where do these feelings come from? Well, if you're not acting, they're coming from outside of you. That means that other people around you and all the circumstances that are happening around you are dictating how you feel. Now, let me ask you a question. How does that make you feel? How does it make you feel that everything around you and everybody around you is dictating how you feel? It's your boss, it's your work, it's your friends, it's your family, it's the person that cut you off on the freeway. It's the fact that everybody's told you you're worthless, or you're not smart enough, or you'll never succeed unless you have an education, or you should do this, or you should do that. And all those things that people are saying to you, how does that make you feel? So here's the thing, you guys. What you're gonna learn here is how to control your mind, because if you don't control it, somebody else will. So in the process of this program that we're going to be doing, is you're going to have some really serious mindset training. What we're going to do is we're going to reprogram your whole mind, and I'm going to teach you how to do this step by step. Every single thing that you do is going to teach you and get your mind into the right state so that you can accomplish anything that you want, and you can let your actions control how you feel. So for instance, if you get up and you exercise and you're doing that on a regular basis, you're feeling like, you're feeling pretty good. Or if you get up and you say, today I'm going to clean my house, or I'm going to reorganize this, or I'm going to do that. And once you actually clean your house, or you reorganize this, or you go clean your car, or you accomplish something, or maybe you've got a stack of papers that you've just been dreading going through, okay? But you do it. Then how do you feel? Well, you feel a sense of accomplishment. So you're going to learn these things, okay? You're going to learn how to control your mind. And I'm going to give you lots of tools. Lots of tools, lots of exercises, lots of meditations, lots of hypnotherapy, and a lot of things that you can do on your own every single day that's going to alter the way your neural pathways work. So let's get started. I'm super excited. It's time now to change your life because you can be awesome. Hi, you guys. This is Michelle Thompson, and today is the day. So we're going to get started. Now, this is pre-recorded. It is not a live show. So the live show will be on Tuesday. So make sure that you do all your homework. You do all the stuff you're supposed to do. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to introduce everything that I have here with this book. Okay. So let me share my screen. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's the cover of the book. All right, so you guys, you should have a copy of it. So we're gonna go ahead and just flip through this and go with this with me, okay? So I'm going to kind of read some of this stuff to you so we kind of go along with it, because sometimes some of you guys might be watching this on a phone. So that's why I really would like you to print it out if you can, but if you're not at that place, that's fine, okay? So imagine that you could have an organic computer that would give you positive feedback, work for you, provide creative, positive perceptions and ideas. What if I told you that you already do? You see, scientists have been saying for years, all the way back to Einstein, that we only use 10% of our brains. But what if a new discovery was found that suggested that a person may harness this unused potential and increase your intelligence up to 90%? It's a beautiful thing, right? All right. So here's how it works. You have a combination in your mind of several different types of consciousness. The levels of these consciousness include your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your higher conscious mind, and your superconscious mind. What's important here is that you know why you think you can't control your negative thoughts, as well as how you can actually control them. So I want you to imagine that you had a part of your mind that recorded every event, every experience, every emotion, and everything anyone ever told you. Well, the good news is it's true. Your subconscious mind is the recorder and the player. The recorder and the player creates programs that run in your brain like an organic computer. Some can be helpful, while others can be very destructive. Those negative thoughts can keep coming up, and those are programs that are running in your mind. These programs are stuck in a looping pattern, patterns that are created by events and emotional impact. The brain starts an association pattern and then starts running a track, a looping track called sub-programs. At times you may find yourself reacting to an event in which you may logically know or should have had much more of less of emotional reaction. But these subconscious programs attach similar events in nature to them. These subconscious programs are stored in what I call like a file cabinet. And these file cabinets can collect data and deliver automatic knee-jerk reactions to events that happen in your life. At times you may feel as though these negative thoughts are the only thing in your mind. However, no matter how much despair you feel or how much you may believe that you only have bad things happen, you have had positive experiences in your life. The problem is you can't activate them. Let's say, for argument's sake, that in your life you've had no positive experiences at all. But regardless of how messed up or how destructive your life has been, you can create a new way to think. You can rewire your mind, and you can create new file cabinets and store positive life experiences. Think of it like this. You are what you say to yourself. The key to what we experience or how we experience life events has to do with what we are putting the focus on. The other experiences have not been given enough power, which is emotion. So remember that, to be kept in the front part of your mind. Therefore, they're stored away. They're stored away so far back that they seem like they're lost. Hopefully, you caught these key words. Emotion is power. Whatever you feel the most emotion about is the thoughts that will continuously run through your mind. In this program, you will learn how to turn the emotions that are positive on and turn off the negative emotions. So get ready to change your life, to change your mind. And from this moment on, you are now in control of your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. You can change how you think. Okay, so now we're going to go over the different parts of the mind. Okay, so we have 3 different types of minds. We have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the higher mind, and the superconscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is the experiencer, the decision maker, the creator, and the subconscious mind is the recorder, the player, the organic computer. The higher conscious mind is the desires, the inner guide, the spirit, the toolbox of your life. And then the superconscious mind is the higher self, the soul, the wise man, the creative imagination, and the divine consciousness, or the connection to the divine. All right. Okay, here we go. So let's go over the conscious mind. The conscious mind is your awareness, is a state of being present. It's when you're working on something, when you're creating something, when you're experiencing something new. Be in the now, stay present, be mindful, wake up. These are phrases that you've heard or that you've used when you're in the conscious mind. The conscious mind is when you're staying 100% present, when you're watching, listening, and experiencing. Okay, so we're going to try an exercise. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. And I need to find a blanket. So hold on one second. I'm going to stop the share. All right, got my blanket. Okay, so here we go. All right, so let's go back to sharing. Actually, no, we're not going to go back to sharing. I'm just going to go ahead and you follow along in your part of the book. And basically, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing here. Okay. All right. So basically, what I want you to do is find a blanket or a sheet or a towel or something like that. And what I want you to do is I want you to start folding that blanket. Okay. Just fold it really quickly, you know, put it together, just fold the blanket. Okay. Now, did you do this automatically? You automatically know how to fold a blanket because that is a program. Okay. So look at my blanket. Nah, it's not really neatly posted. I was thinking while I was folding this blanket, I was actually thinking about talking to you guys and describing it. So was I in the conscious mind? No, I was running a program. So let's do this again. This time, I don't want you to watch this video. You can keep it playing, but I want you to take your blanket and I want you to fold it perfectly, okay? I want you to match, and don't think this is silly, you guys. I really want you to do this, okay? This exercise is important because it helps your mind understand, okay? So go ahead and do this exercise. If you have to stop the video right now, pause it, and go get a blanket, then do that, okay? So now what I want you to do is I want you to go edge to edge, corner to corner, and I want you to fold that blanket absolutely perfect, okay? And just think about folding it absolutely perfect, like no wrinkles, nothing, just absolutely perfect, okay? So I'm gonna do it with you. So look at my perfect blanket, okay? So now, here's the thing. When you were folding the blanket, were you thinking about anything? Were you thinking about my video? Were you thinking about what you're gonna cook for dinner? No, you were thinking about folding this blanket absolutely perfect. Okay, so that is what I call being in the conscious mind. So another example would be like when you're driving a car for the very first time, or you're learning to ride a bike for the first time, you're in the conscious mind. Okay, so we're going to go back to sharing the screen. Okay, all right, so we did this little exercise. So now we want to talk about the subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind is the recorder, the player of what I'd like to call the organic computer. The function of the subconscious mind is to allow a break to the conscious mind so that you have an automatic response that helps us move through things with ease. Once a program has been created, like driving a car, it becomes easily accessed. It's an easily accessed program that comes to us automatically without having to process what the steps are that's needed to do this action. This is when the subconscious mind works well for us. This is when it's our friend. The subconscious mind also stores information and knowledge to find answers based on what we've been taught, or what you've taught yourself, or what you've experienced. It's like a living library. But it's important to notice that muscle memory or automatic responses aren't the only thing that the subconscious mind does. It stores every experience that you've ever had in your life, all the words that have been said to you, all the words that you've said to yourself, and all of our emotional reactions to those inputs that have come to us. All the movies playing in your head are programs that are either been told to you by someone else, or you've said to yourself, or that you've experienced. When you're remembering, when you're reflecting, or when you're projecting, you're outside of the conscious mind and entering into the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind takes that information and anything that gets experienced with this emotion and gets stored as important. Emotion is fuel that keeps a program active. It's important to note here that many teachers have taught the concept of saying affirmations. However, the original experience was emotional and the belief was established and then it was triggered, and it can be triggered any time in your life. This is when you find yourself reacting emotionally to a situation and you don't know why. Experiences with high emotions are stored as important and will resurface when similar events happen in your life. These are called triggers. So what I'm saying here, and let's kind of go back to this, okay? I'm going to say this again. It's important to note here that many teachers have taught you the concept of saying affirmations, okay? However, if the original experience was emotional and a belief was established and then it was triggered or can be triggered anytime in your life, this is when you find yourself reacting emotionally to a stimulation and you don't know why. What I'm saying here is that you can sit here and say all the affirmations all day long, but you're saying the affirmations without emotion. And, you know, and all these important, like, teachers and speakers and spiritual coaches and everything, they're always like, say your affirmations. I am good. I am healthy. I'm blah. Do you feel anything when you're saying that? Because you feel something when you're remembering these things. Think about that. Experiences with high emotions are stored as important, and it will resurface with similar events that happen in your life. These are called triggers or buttons, okay? You have storage cabinets in your mind. As similar events happen, they get put in the same place. They're called connective wires or neural pathways. Neural pathways. They are called connective wires or neural pathways. The original emotion from the core event will surface every time something closely related comes up, or closely related to the last event, related to the last event, related to the last event, and so on. And before you know, the event gets triggered that has nothing to do with the causing emotion. Okay, so let's stop right there and let me explain that. Okay? What I'm saying is, it's kind of like gossip. I say, I saw Joanne go to the store and she was walking out with this other guy. I wonder if that's her son. She goes and tells her friend, Michelle saw Joanne walking out of the store with another guy. And she thinks she doesn't know who this guy was. And he was a whole lot younger. He could have been her, he looked like he could have been her son. Next person. So-and-so saw Joanne walking out of the store with some guy that's young enough to be her son. Then it gets passed on. I heard that Joanne was having an affair with a younger guy. And then it just keeps on going, okay? And before you know it, the story gets Joanne's having an affair with a younger guy. And then blah, 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 okay? So Joanne having an affair with a younger guy has nothing to do with her walking out of the store with her son. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. The brain will store a similar event, okay? And then another event, and then another event, and before you know it, it's similar, 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 and then by the time it's like this. It's like, this one doesn't relate to this one, it has nothing to do with it, and it's automatically triggered. Okay. When you allow your mind to replay these events, you're fueling the emotion. Over and over, you continue to feed the negative emotion. It tells the mind this is important, and it needs to be repeated or stored in easy access location. If you consciously think about it and you apply emotion to the movie in your mind, you're fueling the information. This causes a cycle of looping patterns, which starts a hamster wheel effect. Okay, what I'm saying here, you guys, is when you think about something and you apply emotion, you're telling your brain, hey, store this, it's important. And the more you do that, the more it replays and it replays, and you get caught in a looping pattern. You can't get out of it. And you're like, I can't stop that thought. It's just stuck in my head. Many people define themselves as what their mind is playing inside. Within you, you have two parts: what you desire and how you choose to act. Your true self is crying out inside, begging to come out and to explore the world and experience new journeys. How you choose to act is your character, and that character can change. You're not defined by others or by your past. Who you are is based on your own true desires. And if you're acting on your desires, then you're being true to yourself. If your actions and your beliefs are based on what you've been told about what you should do, then you're not living in your truth. This leads into making a choice. How do you define yourself? Wow, that's kind of deep, right? What am I saying? What I'm saying is that you may not be true to yourself because you're not paying attention to your desires. And are you acting on your desires? Because how you act, how you choose to act is your character. Okay? So who you are, just because you're like, that's not how I feel inside. Well, it doesn't matter how you feel inside because you're not being true to yourself. You're being a fake to yourself and to everybody else. And that causes a lot of misery inside. So let's continue. All right. Now we're going to go to the higher conscious mind. The higher conscious mind is your toolbox. It carries all the tools that you need to provide you with meeting your purpose. If your desires, let's start all over. The higher conscious mind is your toolbox. It carries all the tools you need to provide you with meeting your purpose. It is your desires and your spirit. This is your true self. It is your core being. It is your desires and your spirit. This is your true self. I'm going to say it again. It is your desires and your spirit. This is your true self. It's your core being. Some call it your spirit. It will direct you in a way that's your path, that's your purpose. And when you feel lost, it's because you're not doing what you're desiring. It's because you desire something and you're not taking action on it. This is due to not listening to the sabotaging programs that have ruled you throughout your life. You may want to eat healthy because your spirit, your higher conscious, desires a healthy body. Your desires may even go deeper. You may even have things that you want to do that you can't because of the excess weight is holding you back. However, every time that you attempt to do it, somehow you fail. This is because of subconscious programs that tells you when you need to eat cookies, ice cream, fatty foods, that you feel good. Most of you experience when you're eating, have surrounded yourself with family and good times. Therefore, when life stresses you out, your mind tries to help you out by using these programs that you've been taught. Eat will make you happy. Okay, I'm going to describe that for you. What that means is that sometimes our experiences aren't necessarily, they look sabotaging, but they're not really sabotaging. It's the way that the brain has worked. It's the way it's learned. It's like, oh, every time we go to your parents' house, we have all this food. It's so happy. It's happy times, happy times. So you associate happy times with food. So what happens when you feel down? Your mind says, oh, and it goes, happy times, happy times. I found that file, and it brings it to the surface. And it says, this will make you feel good. Go eat. The higher conscious mind is your inner guide. It's your GPS to your life. It will guide you in the right way. At times in your life, you may have heard or even felt that something in you was saying to leave. Yet you kept telling yourself not to. As you reflect back, you see that if you would have listened to your inner voice or your inner feeling, you may have had a different outcome with less pain. At times, your inner self, spirit, higher self will tell you what you need to do, such as start a business, write a book. However, the fear of failure creeps in. The voice repeats, you will fail. The voice in your subconscious mind replaying something that someone has told you when you were young. The higher conscious mind is your core being, which has the tools and all the knowledge, and it's the roadmap to your life. By allowing it to have a voice, you're allowing yourself to be who you were born to be. Oh my God. You have to follow your desires because that's who you were born to be. That was your purpose. So many people say, I don't know what my purpose is. Well, listen to what it is that something's saying to you inside. What's the inner voice? What is the desires? What's the ache? Okay, let's go a little further. Okay, superconscious mind. Superconscious mind is the soul. It's the higher self. This is the part of the mind which is creative and wise. It can access the collective consciousness, a part of all that is. It is able to find new and creative ideas outside of what your mind already knows. I'll explain that in a minute. Your mind is capable of many things. And this part of your mind can access information that can be unknown to you and your experiences. How does that happen? Have you ever known how to do something or wondered how or why you knew that? You might have simply sat quietly wondering, how can I do this? And within seconds, possibly minutes, you find a solution to the problem. This is when you're tapping into the higher levels of your mind. Some people call it a download. This part of the mind shows you that you can find your answers no matter how far outside it may be from who you think you are. However, it is a part of you, and you are a part of it. I remember when I was working for a tile company, we had a huge warehouse full of tiles laying everywhere. The unorganization of the tiles was quite annoying to me, and I thought for a while. I sat down, took a pen and piece of paper, and drew out a diagram of how to build and store the files. I had never learned construction or architecture before, so this information was learned information coming to me, okay? Now think about that for a second. That's kind of weird, huh? I just asked myself, how can I do this? I brought the diagram to the owner, went to the hardware store, bought the metal pieces, built the structure that I had drawn. How did I do that? The superconscious mind, or the higher self, is part of a mind that is creative. It's a problem solver. It's a part of you that can be an aid. Many times you have done something or you've wondered, how do I do this? There are many different beliefs as to what part of you that you're speaking to. Some say it's God speaking to you from your inner voice. Others may say it's angels or guides. It is your soul or your higher self, a part of you that is eternal and has all that you need to make all the necessary choices in your life. Is a part of you that has access to something much larger, much grander than you can even imagine. It's a part of you that is created from perfection. Okay. I'm going to continue, and then I'm going to kind of dive into this a little bit more. I remember a quote that Christ said, "Ask and you shall receive, knock and the door shall be open, seek and you shall find." If you ask, the answer will come. The doorway in your mind will be open, and the answers will come when you continue to seek them. Okay. This is pretty intense right here. For any of you guys that really don't understand this, some of you guys are, very self-aware. Some of you guys are like, what the hell did she just say? I had a client tell me when she was reading this book, she goes, you're going to run across people and have no idea what you're talking about. Can you dumb it down? And I'm like, oh my God, I thought I dumbed it down as much as I could. So I'm going to try. Okay. Let's say that you're a Christian. Then this would either be your soul or it could be God. Let's say you're a New Ager, it could be your spirit guide. Personally, my belief system is it's your higher self. Your higher self, that's a collective consciousness of everything you were, everything you are, and everything that you will be. Let's say that you have multiple parallel lives running simultaneously. Okay? So it's everything you are. So in a parallel life, you're much better. You've done this, you've created this, you've done that, da da da. You know, there's all these different versions of self running around, experiencing different versions of the same thing. Scientists have actually proven that there are parallel worlds. It's a hard one for some people, but they've proven that. So when you're tapping into this, you could be tapping into another self that's already acquired this information. If you believe in a past life, then perhaps I was an architect in a past life. There's so many different reasons or why it could be. Or perhaps we're tapping into this higher mind that has a radio frequency that's able to receive somebody else's thoughts, and then you get that download. However it is, it's in this hive of information and you can access it. So we're going to do a little exercise. I want you to ask yourself a question, and I want you to use the word why first. So for instance, I want you to say, why can't I make more money? Okay. Use the question, and it may not be your question, but whatever. Why can't I lose weight? Why can't I make more money? Why can't I ever find a man? Why do men always cheat on me? Okay, whatever it is that you want to say. Okay. Now, which part of your mind do you think that you've accessed the answers to? When you ask the question why, the answer is always going to come from your subconscious mind, because you're going to be reaching into all the experiences that you've had, resulting in the answers because you are not smart enough, because you can't stop eating donuts, because you are worthless, because you don't deserve love. These are all things that you've been told, things you've been taught. So that's where your mind's going to go. So now I want you to ask the question differently. Let's take the same question. Okay? Ask yourself the same question, but this time I want you to say, how can I? Now, the subconscious mind, if you remember, it's a storage, everything you've experienced. Okay? So you're asking a question based on something you've never experienced. Okay, so it's not going to go into the subconscious mind, so it's got to go up a little higher. So it's going to go into the spirit, or it's going to go into the soul. Okay, so you're going to say, how can I make more money? Now, which part of the mind do you think you've accessed the answers to? Well, when you ask yourself, how can I, the answers will always come from the superconscious mind. Just by rephrasing the question, you start to access information that is not stored. How can I make this warehouse more organized? I wasn't an architect. I didn't know how to do that. But somehow or another, I did. Okay. So in this chapter, this is your homework, okay? You're going to start to discover the mind. You're going to try to figure out what your blocks are. I heard this statement so many times. I have subconscious blocks keeping me from doing what I want, or I have negative thoughts that won't turn off. At times, they keep you from sleeping. In this section, you're going to discover what is really going on inside of your mind and where it's coming from. What are your core beliefs, your limiting beliefs, your negative thoughts that keep creeping up day after day? In the upcoming parts of this book, you're going to complete several weekly assignments. In the first week, it's very important that you understand how the mind works. The first week, you're going to be journaling. It's important that you journal. You really need to take the time out. Put 100% effort towards this discovery of who you really are. Putting in half of the effort is not good enough. If you find yourself unable to put forth the effort, then you need to stop and start over at a different time. Now, I highly suggest that you use these tools on these pages in this workbook, because I've made these beautiful pages where you can just print them out, and it has all the tools that you need. Okay? And it's really good that you have it, because you can like put some hole punches in it, stick it in a binder, and you can reflect on this later at a different time. And you'll be able to see how much you've changed. So why do you have to journal? When you sit down and you put all your energy and your focus into what it is you're really thinking about, your life, then you find so much more that you realize they're coming out that's been suppressed. I've heard people tell me I never realized how many negative thoughts I really had. This is not a time for an affirmation. Remember, this is a discovery. You will find that there are inner thoughts in you that are connected to something you may have forgotten about. Okay. The purpose of the 1 week journaling is to find out what is repeating in your mind, including the lies, the stories that you tell yourself. Bring them to the front of the conscious mind and release them forever. So what I want you to do is take 5 minutes to meditate and just focus only on your breathing. This is not rocket science. I find people make a much bigger deal out of meditating than's necessary. You don't even need to worry if you're doing it right or wrong. Just breathe. Focus on your breathing. Breathe in really deep. Breathe out really slow. Now, I'm going to include a meditation, okay? So right after I post this video, there's going to be a 5-minute meditation right after it, okay? So make sure that you are using that tool, okay? So I'll have a lot of people ask me, why do I have to meditate? A lot of people don't like doing it because they don't feel like they're good at it, but here we go. You meditate anyway. 5 minutes, you guys. 5 minutes a day, okay? That's it. 5 minutes a day. Imagine that you had a dirty dish that had food sitting on it all day, and it becomes dirty, hard, crusty. You scrub, but you can't loosen up the crust of the food from the dish. Typically, you put some soap and water in it, you let it soak for a little while. Then, with barely any work at all, the crude loosens up and it comes to the surface. Then you rinse it and you dump it. Think of meditation as loosening up the hardwired programs. By meditating a few minutes a day, you find it much easier to get to your core beliefs that's been driving all the negative thoughts to come out. Think of journaling as dumping it out, like dumping all the crusty food on the paper. Think of meditating like soaking. So soak and dump. So meditate 5 minutes, then write. Soak, dump. Soak for meditating, dump for writing, okay? The last thing I suggest, based on the weather, of course, is walking outside. Walking outside is really good for you. Just being outside helps you in so many different ways, combating anxiety, depression. Walking reduces cortisol levels and produces serotonin. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Serotonin is the happy hormone. So while you're letting all the crude come to the surface and dumping it out, you're decreasing your stress levels and increasing your happiness. Okay? So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is you're going to need to figure out what the heck is going on in your